Good evening students. Today we will start with the human ear. First I will explain you the structure using the black box method so that the concept is clear and then we can go into detail. So overall your ear, the human ear is divided into three parts. That is the outer ear, middle ear and the inner ear. You can see over here three boxes are made, three compartments are made. The outer compartment is known as the outer ear. Middle compartment is known as the middle ear and the last compartment is known as the inner ear. Now each compartment has its own function. The function of the first compartment, that is the outer ear, is to only collect the sound waves from the surrounding and send it to the middle ear. Now these waves are very low in intensity, so they are made more audible. Their quality is increased, they are amplified, their amplitude is very small. So their amplitude is magnified, we will say they are amplified by the middle ear. Okay. After amplifying the sound, the middle ear sends it to the inner ear. Now inner ear has got two functions. One, that whatever this sound waves, amplified sound waves it is going to receive, it is going to convert it into electrical signals and then send it to the brain via the auditory nerve so that we are able to hear. The second function of the inner ear is to maintain the body balance. हम जो सीधे खड़े होते हैं, okay, हम गिरते नहीं हैं, that is because of this. And if there is a problem in that particular part, which we will see later, in the inner ear, then we feel giddy, chakkar आता है, balance चला जाता है, गिर जाते हैं. Okay, so basically the functions of the human ear is to hear and second is for the balance. So this is the outer view. Now going further, the outer ear consists of the projecting part known as pinna, यानी बाहर से जो हमको सबका नज़र आता है, that external part of the ear, that is known as pinna. It is also called auricle. And after that, after this pinna and auricle, there is a long passage known as auditory canal and that leads us till the eardrum. ये canal कहाँ तक जाता है? Eardrum. मतलब canal जो है उसका जो end होता है, that is attached to the eardrum and this eardrum is also known as tympanum. Okay, so this is your outer ear. So what is the function of the outer ear? The function of the outer ear is now to collect all the sound waves using the pinna and then via the auditory canal it leads to the middle ear. Now outer ear and middle ear, they are divided, or between them there is the eardrum. They are separated by the eardrum or the tympanum. Now middle ear consists of three bones: malleus, incus and stapes, and the most common names of these are hammer, anvil and stirrup. Malleus means hammer, incus means anvil and stapes means stirrup. These three bones are there and these three bones are doing nothing but amplifying the sound wave received. Okay, and first you have hammer which is attached to the eardrum. Hammer के साथ anvil is attached and with anvil stirrup is attached, and stirrup one end is attached to one membrane which is between the middle ear and the inner ear. Okay, now these three bones, that is the hammer, anvil and stirrup, they are also known as ear ossicles. Ossicles means little bones, they are very small in size, so they are known as ossicles, ear ossicles. Now this is your middle ear. Now there is one more thing. You know that we have got ENT specialist. Why we say? Because the ear, nose, throat are all connected. Now from this middle ear, one tube comes out and it opens into the throat. That is, it connects the ear to the throat. Your middle ear is connected to the throat and that tube is known as eustachian tube. That is why when you have throat problems, slowly the infection reaches your ear also. That is via this eustachian tube. Okay, we will see in detail. This is just an overview I am giving. Then you have the inner ear. Now the inner ear is also known as membranous labyrinth. Inner ear is also known as membranous labyrinth. It has got three parts: the cochlea, semicircular canals and vestibule. We will see in detail what are these. अभी कुछ भी मत समझो, अभी बस इतना समझो कि inner ear has got cochlea, semicircular canals and vestibule. Okay, and what is the work of all these? Work of all these is, first one is to balance the body, second is to whatever they receive from the middle ear, the sound waves, the amplified sound waves, they have to convert it into electrical signals and send it to the brain. So let's have a quick recap that the ear is divided into outer ear, middle ear, inner ear. Outer ear function is to collect the sound waves and send it to the middle ear via the auditory canal. The middle ear function is to amplify these sound waves and send it to the inner ear. Apart from this, middle ear also connects itself with the throat via the eustachian tube. Then the inner ear function is, after it receives the waves from the middle ear, it converts it into electrical signals and sends it to the brain via the auditory nerve. We will see this in detail. And second function of the inner ear is to maintain the body balance. Now look at the figure given in your book, page number 146. That is the human ear. Now here you can see the pinna. Then from the pinna you can see the sound waves are traveling in the auditory canal, and the red color what you see, that is the eardrum. Okay, so the external ear is completed over here. Then what you can see after the eardrum, that is your middle ear. Okay, you can see small green color, then yellow color. These are all your three bones, that is a hammer, anvil and stirrup. Okay, now here you can see the hammer is that green color, anvil is the yellow color, and the purple bluish color, that is your stirrup. So stirrup is connecting to one membrane. Now that membrane, the other side begins your inner ear. Okay, and in the inner ear you have got the cochlea, the vestibule and the semicircular canals. Cochlea is that spiral, जो पर्पल कलर का स्पाइरल दिख रहा है ना जलेबी की तरह, that is cochlea. Then you see blue color, you can see semicircular canals. There are three canals, they are parallel to each other. ऐसे तीन rings जैसे दिख रहे हैं अलग अलग, separated. They are semicircular canals. And then you can see one vestibule. Vestibule दिख रहा है तुम लोग को? वेस्टिबुलर पोर्शन दिखाया है. ओके, हाँ, ये एक ट्यूब की तरह होता है. वी विल स्टडी दिस इन डिटेल. सो दिस इज हाउ योर, ये डायग्राम ये मैंने बॉक्स में पहले एक्सप्लेन किया था. नाउ दिस इज हाउ इट इज देयर इनसाइड द ईयर. नाउ लेट अस स्टडी ईच वन ऑफ देम इन डिटेल. Now the outer ear is clear, that is the pinna and the auditory canal. Now we will see your middle ear. Now see the figure. This is the middle ear. You can see the eardrum. So the outside part is your outer ear, and the other part of the eardrum के वो side में is your middle ear. So this is the figure of your middle ear. Now to the eardrum is attached your hammer. That is a green color. देखो hammer का shape है, ऊपर वो bob की तरह. To the hammer is attached anvil. That is the yellow color part. और anvil का other end is attached to stirrup. Stirrup देखो वो lock की तरह है. And stirrup is attached to that membrane. वो जहाँ पे attached है, that membrane is, that part is known as oval window. Okay, the flat part of the stirrup, it is fit on the oval window. Now, and what is oval window? It is just a membrane covered type opening which is leading it to the inner ear. Then there is one more opening which is known as the round window, and this window is also covered by a thin membrane, and this connects the middle ear and the inner ear. Okay, so there are two openings in the membrane between the middle ear and the inner ear. On one, the stirrup goes and attaches. Second one, nothing is there, just a membrane is there, and that is one means of connection between the two. So what happens when the eardrum starts vibrating, then that vibration is passed. Who will pick up that vibration of the eardrum? The hammer. After hammer picks up the vibration, it will pass on to anvil, because it is connected to anvil, they are touching. So when anvil will amplify it and send it to stirrup, stirrup will again amplify, and then it is attached to the oval window, and like this it will pass on to the inner ear. So these are the three bones. Then you can see one tube. From here the opening goes into the, पर ये भी देख लो, राउंड विंडो भी देख लो. You can see the round window here, bottom में देखो. Okay, fine. And then from here only down you have your eustachian tube also. मतलब ये जो राउंड विंडो दिखा रहा है, राउंड विंडो के नीचे का जो पाथ है, that is nothing but your eustachian tube, which will lead you to the throat. So this is your middle ear. Now here you can see the inner ear is shown. Okay, zoom. In fact, you can see everything, and the inner ear is very clear now. So right from the beginning we will see there is a eardrum, then there are the three bones, that is the hammer, anvil and stirrup, and you can see stirrup is attached to the opal window. After that, whatever is there, the last part, the right part, that is completely your inner ear. In this inner ear you can see there are three semicircular canals. Can you see this on the top? Okay, three semicircular canals. Now all these three semicircular canals are at right angles to each other. Okay, mutually perpendicular. हमने Fleming's left hand rule में किया है ना, three fingers को म्यूचुअली परपेंडिकुलर एक्स वाई एंड जेड एक्सिस, तो उस तरह से ये अरेंज रहते हैं. ओके, ऑल थ्री आर म्यूचुअली परपेंडिकुलर टू ईच अदर. सो ऐसे राइट एंगल्स में ये सेमी सर्कुलर कैनाल्स अरेंज रहते हैं इन डिफरेंट प्लेन्स. और इसका जो एक एंड है देखो, सबका आकर के ज्वाइन हो रहा है नीचे फ्लैट होकर के. ओके, एंड दैट वाइडेंड पार्ट इज नोन एज एम्प्यूला. देखो एम्प्यूला दिखा रहा है वहाँ पे, कहाँ पे, वो बेस पे है ना. सारे कैनाल्स ऊपर जा कर के जब नीचे आ रहे हैं तो जिस बेस पे वो अटैच हो रहे हैं, दैट इज नोन एज एम्प्यूला. और यहाँ पे इसमें क्या होता है, इन सेमी सर्कुलर कैनाल्स दे हैव गॉट सेंसरी सेल्स फॉर डायनामिक बैलेंस ऑफ योर बॉडी. बॉडी में दो तरह का बैलेंस मेंटेन करना पड़ता है. एक है डायनामिक बैलेंस और दूसरा होता है स्टैटिक बैलेंस. स्टैटिक बैलेंस इज मेंटेन्ड व्हेन यू आर स्टेशनरी और व्हेन यू आर स्टैंडिंग. जब तुम हिल नहीं रहे हो, स्टेशनरी हो एक जगह पे, ओके, एट रेस्ट, तो उस समय के बैलेंस को हम स्टैटिक बैलेंस कहते हैं. और खड़े भी तो गिरना नहीं चाहिए ना आदमी, तो खड़ा हुआ भी है तो बैलेंस चाहिए. एंड डायनामिक बैलेंस मीन्स व्हेन यू आर इन मोशन, व्हेन यू आर मूविंग, तो वो टाइम पे भी बैलेंस चाहिए. सो दैट इज डायनामिक बैलेंस. सो डायनामिक बैलेंस इज मेंटेन्ड बाय दिस एम्प्यूला सेमीसर्कुलर कैनाल्स वेयर देयर आर सेंसरी सेल्स. ओके, और फिर इसी में से नर्व फाइबर्स निकलते हैं जो ऑडिटरी नर्व को जाकर के कनेक्ट हो जाते हैं. यू कैन सी ऑडिटरी नर्व दिख रहा है तुम लोगों को, उसमें से तीन ब्रांचेस तुमको दिख रहे हैं. तो एक कहाँ से आ रहा है, एक एम्प्यूला से आ रहा है ना, सेमी सर्कुलर कैनाल्स के बेस में से आके ऑडिटरी नर्व्स इट इज ज्वाइनिंग, राइट. देन यू कैन सी देयर इज अ थिक स्टेम लाइक पार्ट, और उसके नीचे कॉक्लिया है. Now this stem-like part which is in between the semicircular canals and the cochlea is known as vestibule. अब ये vestibule जो है, this is again divided into two parts. One is known as utriculus and one is known as sacculus. और इन दोनों को ही collectively हम क्या बोलते हैं, we call it as a vestibule. और इसमें क्या होता है, first work is it is joining the bases of semicircular canals and the cochlea. This is the first function. Second is that these parts contain sensory cells for static balance when the body is stationary. जिस तरह से semicircular canals dynamic balance को संभालता है, same way vestibules they are responsible for the static balance of a body. Okay, so we have seen the semicircular canals and we have seen the vestibule. Now let us see the cochlea in detail. Now you can see this figure. It is a spiral. It is having 2.5 turns. दो पूरे सर्कल रहते हैं और एक खाली हाफ रहता है. So we say that cochlea is a spiral shaped, looks like a snail shell and it has got 2.5 turns. ये अंदर से ना इसमें कैविटी रहती है, ये खाली रहता है. Okay, it is a hollow, but these cavities are divided into 3 parallel cavities, canals like. Okay, देखो यहाँ पे फिगर में दिखा रहा है. जैसे आजकल वो शैम्पू के बहुत सारे सैचेज आते हैं, देखो उसमें शैम्पू भी रहता है, कंडीशनर भी रहता है और बीच में वो लोग पार्टीशन डाल देते हैं. व्हेन यू कट इट ओपन देन यू कैन पोर इट सेपरेटली. तो सेम वे ये जो कैनाल रहता है, समझो कि इसमें 3 कैनाल्स हैं. एक आउटर ऐसा गोल ट्यूब जैसा दिखेगा, बट इनसाइड देयर आर पार्टीशंस. ओके, सो देयर आर 3 कैनाल्स. नाउ द आउटर कैनाल, द ऊपर देखो अभी फिगर में दिखा रहा है वेस्टिब्यूलर कैनाल है जो फर्स्ट में. जो बीच में है उसको कहते हैं मीडियन कैनाल और जो नीचे आता है उसको कहते हैं टिम्पैनल कैनाल. ओके, सो दीज आर द 3 पैरेलल कैनाल्स एंड ईच वन ऑफ देम इज सेपरेटेड बाय द मेम्ब्रेन्स. नाउ द मीडियन कैनाल को हम कॉक्लियर कैनाल भी कहते हैं. Now this cochlear canal or the median canal is filled with one fluid and that fluid is known as endolymph. Median cochlear, the median canal is filled up with a fluid known as endolymph. Whereas the first and the third canal, that is the vestibular and the tympanal canal, they are filled up with the perilymph fluid. And now this middle canal is different because इसका fluid भी different है. Why? Because it is having sensory cells. Spiral organ called organ of Corti or organ of Corti, and this is for the hearing. The nerve fibers arising from these cells join the auditory nerve. यहाँ पे यानी कि median canal में you have got organ of Corti. You have got the sensory, they are the sensory cells and इनमें से nerve fibers they come out and they join the auditory nerve. हमने लास्ट में देखा था ना कि 3 जगह से auditory nerves आते हैं. एक तो from the semicircular canals, one from the vestibules and one from the cochlea. So यहीं से cochlea मतलब यहीं से निकल के from the median they connect to the auditory nerve. अभी ये sensory cells they are lying on the basilar membrane. We will see this in detail. Now here you can see the close-up of your cochlea cross section. Okay, ऊपर वाला cavity vestibular canal, बीच वाला second one median canal and the third one is the tympanal canal. Now you see there is a tectorial membrane in the median canal. Then there is, you can see the organ of Corti which includes the sensory hair cells. Then you can see the basilar membrane. On basilar membrane में sensory cells होते हैं. Okay. And tectorial membrane is a membrane. एक पर्दा जैसा होता है यहाँ पे. Okay. So this is all about your ear structure. And I've also explained you the functions and the balancing. We will just once again see it in detail as per your textbook. Now as we discussed, the function of the ear is to hear, help us in hearing as well as body balance. Now let us study the hearing part. The pinna collects the sound waves and conducts them through the externally auditory canal. They finally strike on the eardrum which is set into vibration. Now the eustachian tube क्या करता है? It not only connects the middle ear with the throat, खाली connection उसका work नहीं है, but it actually equalizes the air pressure on either side of the eardrum, allowing it to vibrate freely. Because हम जब बात करते हैं या किसी भी तरह से हम अपना मुंह खोलते हैं, एक्सरसाइज करते हैं, तो उसके जो मूवमेंट्स होता है उसके वजह से एयर प्रेशर ऑन बोथ द साइड्स ऑफ द ईयर ड्रम इज बैलेंस्ड. इफ इट इज़ नॉट बैलेंस्ड तो क्या हो जाएगा? द ईयर ड्रम विल break, it will puncture. Now the vibrating eardrum is also sets the three ossicles into vibration that we have seen. जब eardrum vibrate होता है, sound wave जब उसको touch करता है, vibrating sound waves, when they touch the eardrum, they reach the eardrum sets into vibration, and because of that hammer sets into vibration, because of hammer anvil sets, then the stirrup sets. And the vibration of the last ossicle, that is the stirrup, is amplified due to a lever like action of the first two ossicles. यानी सब मिल करके उसको क्या करते हैं, उसको एम्पलीफाई करते हैं. नाउ द वाइब्रेटिंग स्टिरअप, ये किसको ट्रांसमिट करेगा वाइब्रेशन, टू जो भी ओवल विंडो पे अटैच रहता है ना, स्टिरअप इज अटैच टू द ओवल विंडो. सो ओवल विंडो, वॉट एवर मेम्ब्रेन इज देयर ओवर देयर, द ओवल विंडो मेम्ब्रेन, नाउ दैट विल स्टार्ट वाइब्रेटिंग, एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दिस the fluids which is there inside the cochlear canals is set into vibrations, and then these vibrations are sensed by the sensory cells, and they are converted into electrical signals and sent to the brain via the auditory nerve. Now the vibrating movements of the fluid stimulate hair like process of the sensory cells. जो होते हैं उनमें बाल होते हैं, okay, little hair they have. Now these hair also, they start shaking and they get stimulated, यानी they get activated. Stimulate मतलब activate करना. They get activated, and this happens in the cochlea, and the impulses are transmitted to the brain via the auditory nerve. Now the different areas of the cochlear canal are suited to sounds to different pitches. Most of the sounds we hear are combination of vibrations at many different rates or speed of different pitches. We cannot pick up the vibrations of all the frequencies. Our sensory endings can receive only from 20 to 20,000 hertz. We have seen this in sound also in physics. But the most keenly heard sounds are those at frequencies between 1000 and 4000. 1000 और 4000 hertz के बीच का जो होता है वो हम एकदम quickly और very nicely we can pick up. And sound, and dogs can perceive sounds of even higher frequencies. Why? Because ये जो cochlear canals होते हैं, ये ऐसे suited होते हैं for different pitches. अलग अलग pitches के लिए अलग अलग cells होते हैं to pick up that, because there is such a variety of sound of various frequencies. Now balancing. As the head is turned in different direction, the fluid inside the semicircular canal is also shaken. The moving fluid in the canal pushes against the sensory hair cells, sending the nerve impulse through the nerve fibers attached to them to the brain via the auditory nerve. अब जब हम हिलते हैं, हम हमारा सिर हिलाते हैं, when we move our head, then the fluid which is present inside the semicircular canals, that also shakes. And when that shakes, it gives a push to the sensory hair cells, and now they are activated, and they send the impulse to the brain that the person is moving. तो move हो रहा है, तो that is why we have to provide balance. The sensory cells in the semicircular canals are concerned with dynamic equilibrium, dynamic balance, okay? And vestibules में it is static balance. So all these similar sensory patches, they are located in the utriculus and the saccules, which register the static balance with respect to gravity. So whenever we shake, the fluid also shakes, and then this message is conveyed to the brain via the auditory nerve. Now when you spin round and round, the fluid in the semicircular canal continues to spin for a short time, and even after you stop, you feel dizzy at the same time. क्या होता है जब हम गोल गोल घूमते हैं तो आफ्टर सम टाइम फिर भी हमको चक्कर आता है. क्यों चक्कर आता है? क्योंकि तुम रुक गए, लेकिन वो जो फ्लूइड है ना, वो अभी भी गोल गोल घूम रहा है. इट इज स्टिल शेकिंग. So the sensory cells in the semicircular canals are concerned with the dynamic equilibrium while the body is in motion, and similar sensory patches are located at the utriculus and sacculus, that is the vestibule, for the static balance. And same thing it is given. So and when somebody कोई बस में जाता है, somebody is going in a ship, तो भी उनको चक्कर आता है. Why? That is known as sea sickness, air sickness, car sickness. This is due to the unusual sensations of equilibrium, because हमारा balance change होता है. हम हिल रहे हैं और हमारे movement के हिसाब से the fluid is also shaking, and that is why you have these kind of sensations. Now this completes your chapter here.